Williamson County Regional Planning Commission is now called to order. We have a quorum. Are there announcements, staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 13, Susan Hollow Large Lot Easement Subdivision has been withdrawn. The applicants for items 23, the Parish Large Lot Easement, and item 24, Wiley Farms Phase 2 have requested deferral. Those two items are on your consent agenda. There is a revised report for item 14 showing the correct number of lots for the development. And finally, there's a flyer for the Williamson County Greenway Community Workshop on your desk in front of you. First workshop will be held next Wednesday, March the 26th at Trinity Elementary School. And then the second will be held that Thursday, March the 27th at Hillsborough Community Center. And both meetings are from 6:30 to 8 p.m. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open up the public comments. If anyone has something, well, they've signed up here and they have something that they'd like to tell us as far as the items that are on the agenda for tonight, please, I'll call your name and you'll come to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to state your case, and we appreciate you coming out tonight and participating. The first one on is Ginger Sterling. Shirley? Yeah, you can.
I'm Ginger Sherling, 2227 Oscar Road, Arrington, Tennessee, and I appreciate your time. I had the privilege of serving on the Triune Special Area Advisory Committee. One thing stood out clearly: the overwhelming sentiment among the residents was a strong desire to safeguard our green spaces, our rural heritage, and the agricultural enterprise in any future development plans. The equestrian community has formed valuable partnerships with conservation organizations and opportunities to enhance and protect the Triune and Arrington Village. I extend my gratitude to Director Gordon Hampton for the potential improvements to our local parks and the exciting vision of interconnected multimodal trails near our cherished Harpeth River. Additionally, a new county fire department is set to rise in the heart of Triune. Tonight, the Planning Commission will begin deliberations on a new Triune commercial and residential center. After reviewing the initial presentation, I have concerns regarding the proposal's density and scale. Reflecting on the massive Cool Springs development, we were all taken aback by the extensive infrastructure that was established prior to the construction of any buildings. And my question would be, will we see a similar approach in Triune? Will there be strict adherence to the zoning regulations? Several members of the Triune Advisory Committee have reminded me that our discussions focused on preserving larger trees, not on the need for hotels in this area. We, the residents and workers of Triune, urge that the Triune plan be meticulously followed. Let's work together to protect its distinctive character with the agricultural corridors and lush green pastures. The trend of dense development, lacking rural charm, is encroaching throughout our county. We must ensure that Triune remains a treasure. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next person would be Penny Kimball.
Hi, Hi, my name is Penny Kimley. I live at 2954 Spantown Road. First, I would like to say thank you to the Planning Commission for their service to our community. Greatly appreciated. When I examined the Triune Development Plan, I looked to understand what sets it apart from Berry Farms. While Berry Farms is an attractive development, I find myself rarely visiting. Although it features upscale housing, businesses, and grocery store, it feels like a typical development with more appealing facade. To me, it lacks a deeper essence or narrative. Triune proposed development may share similar characteristics such as high-end housing and commercial spaces, but what is its unique story? One significant aspect is the enduring horse culture in Triune, exemplified by the Triune Saddle Club, which has been part of the community since 1963. This rich history contributes to the very soul of Triune, and with thoughtful planning, this narrative can continue to flourish. Effective design weaves this story into the architecture, lighting, and signage, creating an environment that inspires residents to share their experiences. Such a design not only enhances the community spirit, but also fosters long-term vitality. I firmly believe that a well-conceived design that embraces equestrian elements will help preserve the story and essence of Triune. Thank you.
Thank you. Next will be Gerald Wagner.
Mr. Commissioner, committee members, Attorney Ransom, my name is Jerry Wigger. I represent the Terra Vista Homeowners Association. I understand that the release of any bonds is to be deferred until March 2026. At that meeting, my client agrees to that deferral if it's accepted. The RDE review that I'm sure you have before you indicates how much work has got to be done in this community. I mean, I represent 98 homeowners out there, and there's still quite a bit of work that needs to be done. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Larry Adams.
Good evening. I'm here tonight about the Triune West concept plan. I'm Larry Adams, and I'm one of the owners of the tract of land to the west of the proposed Triune West concept plan. We have two separate tracts of land, each with different ownership structures adjoining this property. When we met with the planning department during the recent zoning change, we agreed with the planning department at that time to access our property and achieve connectivity through this tract as they thought it was the best and proper way to do it. I'm asking that the Planning Commission tonight to change the concept plan back to the original one that was submitted, having one access point to each of the two parcels that we own. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Lucy Hatcher.
Hi, thank you for your service. I just want to be a voice for, I know the commissioners, you've worked very hard in trying to help our beautiful county hold green space with all the massive growth and development in our county. And I'm grateful for that. And but as a fourth generation Hatcher on the Hatcher farm out in College Grove, I didn't give you my address, Arno Road, College Grove. I grew up many years ago, I guess, riding safely as a child, ponies up and down Arno Road without adult supervision and connectivity from one farm to another. We have basically lost that privilege in our county. Our county still is so vested in agriculture, and I just don't want you to forget, if you can, in this developmental process for future generations, to remember the equine. Horses and mules, we built our country on their backs, and they're no longer needed for tractors. They're more of a recreational, but they have so much benefit to us, our mental well-being. We need places to go other than just show rings and arenas. We would like to share these amazing animals with those who don't have connection to a farm or to horses. I just feel like it's just so beneficial to everyone if we can share that. And we impact this county immensely with what we spend on our horses. So don't overlook us when you're holding that green space. Just remember that we don't need fancy. We just need space, and we'd love to share it with bicycles, hikers, whoever else is sharing that. And we know that can't happen in every environment, but just for future generations, keep us in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Adams.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I've been a resident of Williamson County for over 70 years, and I want to speak to the Triune West development. My brothers and I own 150 to 200 acres adjacent to this piece of property on the west. And as I look at the concept plan, it shows no legal access to us, which we need because we will essentially be landlocked. And this access has been promised to us, but the present plan does not show it as it's presently presented. So what I want to do is ask you guys to make sure we are protected and get legal access to our piece of property. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Alvin Burns.
They changed their mind. They don't.
Okay. Teresa Creek. Creasy? Yes.
They're not. She's another.
Okay. David Eldridge. And Houston, I'm not sure what the last name is on this.
Yep.
Mobley.
I can't read that either.
Apologies for my handwriting. It's Houston McGee.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I live at 14,000 Iron Horse Lane. I'm here representing the Cornwell family tonight about the villages at Triune East. And the Cornwell and Crane family have owned this farm for about 45 years. It was operated as a cattle farm until Kathy's husband passed away and father fell ill with dementia. The family bought the property because Kathy's father grew up as a cattle farmer in Lincoln County, and he wanted to farm cattle there with the family. This property has been special for many years, not just to the Cornwell family, but to mine as well. After Kathy's husband passed away, we grew up with Andrew, Kathy's son, doing a lot of deer hunting out there, and my brother proposed to his wife out there as well. And the Cornwells have never intended to develop this property, but had hoped to use it to make memories for generations to come. But because no one is left to operate it as a cattle farm, the family strongly believes it is best result for the town of Triune. And Triune is very important to the Cornwells, not just because of this farm, but because the family has lived in nearby Arrington for almost 30 years and is raising next generations there today. For their fourth generations there today. And Kathy was part of the committee that developed the Triune Special Area Plan based off of Berry Farms. And she wanted to bring that here. And that was part of what John's plan is with this new plan. And Kathy and her son tonight asked me to speak here on their behalf because of concerns raised last month in last month's Planning Commission meeting about Rob Adams' parcel. We understand that the other parcel with the other brothers has access to 96, but this property is landlocked, and that when compensation was given when the state came through with Interstate 840, And they understand of John's new plan, understands that, and he wants to provide an access point through a public drive in the commercial district to where that piece is not landlocked but has access to that commercial piece and feels that's sufficient for the property. But anyway, with that, thank you guys so much.
Thank you. And that'll end the public comments at this time, and we'll go now to the consideration of the minutes for February 13th. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes? Any comments, questions? Do we have a motion? Have a motion, do I have a second? Second. Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, thank you. Next will be the consideration of the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be recusing myself of the consent agenda tonight.
Commissioner Hatcher will, thank you. Does anybody have any one item that they'd like to pull to hear separately, or we'll hear it as a whole?
Chairman, I'd like to pull item the Terra Vista.
Okay. Any others?
I have a question. I think, Aaron, you were saying something about one of in the opening comments. Was that related to something that's on the consent agenda?
Yes, that is correct. So items number 23 and 24 are deferrals.
Okay.
And the applicants requested it. Staff concurs with that.
Okay, so it was just those two.
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Do we have any questions on the consent agenda? Do we have a motion? We've got you. We'll hear that separately, but right now for the rest of the items.
Motion to approve consent agenda as amended.
We have a motion to second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, right now we'll do item number 10. It would be maintenance bond for wastewater collection system, $120,000. Extended the current amount for 1 year. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Staff does recommend that this maintenance bond be extended in the current amount for a period of 1 year.
So my question's about it. The gentleman spoke about releasing the bond. I didn't think we were releasing the bond, so I was curious about that. I didn't know if the developer was here that he could address any work that was left done on the roads, the drainage, the items that the homeowners are concerned with.
My name's Brent Thaney, and I'm here representing the developer. So I'm happy to answer any questions I can. We're a consulting firm they've hired to help them with Section 2 of those bonds. So,
Is there any updates on the work or the drainage?
I'm sorry,
Is there any updates that you could give us on the work or the drainage issues out there?
Well, we've got a list from the county, and so we're working with the engineer and getting a geotech and putting together a plan to have those issues addressed.
Okay.
So it's early in that period, but that process has started.
Okay.
And as far as the road for the wastewater facility, we're currently receiving bids to rerun the road as shown on the plans.
Okay.
So that'll probably happen in the next couple months.
Okay. All right.
Do you have any problem with the 1 year extension?
No, I do not. I think they've already applied for it and paid for it.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
So, one of the emails refers to trees and landscape issues. So can you give us any status update on those?
In Section 2,
Yeah, it does reference Section 2 at the top of this email, but it specifically talks about 20 trees that were cut down in June and some other dead trees.
I have not seen that. The landscaping information I've seen with Section 2, the county indicated there were some additional trees planted near the detention pond, that they've asked to be removed. That's the only landscaping that I've seen in section 2.
So can planning staff give us an update on the tree situation based on this email that we received?
We can go out to the property and look, compare it to the approved landscaping plan.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
When we vote, I'll need to recuse myself of this item moving forward.
Okay, thank you. No other questions? Do we have a motion on item number 10?
Motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Motion, do we have a second? A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Let's see, item number 11, looks like it was on the consent agenda. Item number 12 was withdrawn. Item number 13, concept plan review for the Village at Triune East mixed-use development containing 61 single-family lots, 62 multifamily lots on 63.78 acres located off Horton Highway and Murfreesboro Road in the 5th voting district. And the public hearing was held for this one on February 13th, so there won't be a public hearing tonight on it. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the screen, this is the aerial view. We're going to zoom into the property located on Murfreesboro Road with access on Malachi Lane and Horton Highway. This was deferred from the February meeting, and as Mr. Cronin stated, the public hearing was held at the February meeting. It's located on Murfreesboro Road, Malachi Lane, and Horton Highway. You see the 3 roads coming up on your screen. Property totals 63.78 acres in size. This is a 61-lot conservation subdivision. You see the outline of the lots there in green, and then a 62-lot townhome development in the purple. The density is 1.93 dwelling units per acre. The applicant is proposing a private road network for the internal roadways of this development. Water is provided by Nolensville College Grove Utility District, and wastewater is served by a non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system. Natural resources on the on the property include modern, very steep slopes and areas of woodlands. You can see the wetlands coming up there in the green and the waterway natural area in the light blue. The tree protection area you can see on this slide with all of the green that's scattered around the property. That's the tree protection. The concept plan does depict the approximate location of several 12-foot wide multimodal greenway trails. You'll see it come up here in the green. This is the approximate location of those greenway trails. They do stub into the adjoining properties. You can see the little stars as they come up. And those greenway trails should be constructed prior to the submittal of the final plat in which they are located. Traffic analysis was performed by the applicant and reviewed by the county's traffic consultant. Kayla Ferguson is our county's traffic consultant, and she's here, and she'll go over the traffic portion of the report for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. So these proposals are coming in obviously as 2 separate agenda items, and so what we wanted to do was focus solely on the Triune East off-site improvements from the traffic study that was submitted in February. I'm going to back up here. And they are located in these four locations specifically. Let's see. So these 2 aerial shots, the one on the very bottom, depicts the access that's going to be constructed on State Route 96 on the eastern portion of the site. And then the aerial that's shown on the right is around the Malachi Lane and Horton Highway intersection. So we're going to walk through them real quick. So the first tie-in is on Highway 96. The site access is expected to have a single northbound exiting lane that's going to be unsignalized. So it'll have a stop sign on it. It'll have a shared lane for each movement. You'll notice on this drawing that there is a westbound left turn lane that is shown and depicted, but that is going to come in with a later approval process, so that's not under consideration tonight. Shifting over to the Malachi Lane intersection, it's going to be recommended that this is a traffic signal implementation where it is currently unsignalized now. That will also include the construction of a continuous right turn lane that extends from their future southern access and actually farther down to the I-840 ramps all the way to Malachi Lane. They will also have a southbound left turn lane that goes into Malachi Lane that's required. And then the new westbound approach or not new, but the existing Malachi Lane approach will actually be widened to have an exclusive left turn lane provided at the signal. The seventh item that is listed on the slide that is not visually depicted is representing the site access on Malachi Lane further to the east. That will be a simple unsignalized intersection where they tie into Malachi Lane. But we don't have an aerial concept for that. So I'm happy to answer any questions now or after Aaron, I think. Goes next.
All right. Thank you, Kayla.
On the Highway 96 entrance,
Sure.
if you're going east from the Triune intersection, you said there's not going to be a right-hand turn into the development?
No, it does not warrant it. Nor with at any phase, with the residential or any future phases.
Okay, but there's the left-hand.
The left-hand
Going
turn is
west.
warranted in a future phase. So something to note, the traffic study analyzed the full build-out in a couple of different phases.
Do we know when that phase is going to implement that left-hand turn lane?
Their full build-out in the traffic study is anticipated for 2031. So that's as much information as I have, at least.
That's what I have as well.
So no left turn lane until 2031?
That is correct, but I believe that Will Crunk, when he comes up, will give a further detailed opinion about the left-hand turn lane on Murfreesboro Road, the one that Kayla's discussing now.
Okay.
I would also note that the turn lane lengths and storages that you see in your packet and that are recommended have all been looked at by TDOT as well, so they've already kind of started that coordination process.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Kayla. All right, and finally, staff does recommend approval of the concept plan with all of the conditions outlined in your staff report, including satisfying all of the conditions associated with the wastewater site plan and the repaving of Malachi Lane at 85% build out as required by the Williamson County Highway Department.
Thank you. Is the applicant present?
My name's Will Cronk with Cronk Engineering, representing the applicant. To address the most recent comment on the traffic study, the left-bound left turn lane off of 96 will be installed during the initial work of the residential, even though it's not warranted until the future commercial areas dictated. And also, the developer is also interested in adding an eastbound right turn lane, but that's something we're still working with TDOT, and we'll work with the Highway Department on trying to get that added. And then I'm here if there are any other questions.
Okay, are there any questions of the applicant or staff at this time?
I have a question. So it sounds like from the description, phase 1 is just the residential units that are shown in this concept plan. And then phase 2 is that parcel just south of the Twice Daily?
That's correct, yes.
And then my other question pertains to, I don't know if we can click back a few slides, to the one that shows the shared paths. And just hoping that maybe staff could explain a little more about, how the public will be able to access those, especially for the horse riding community.
Excuse me, I'll address that. So the idea is that at least a portion of the trail shown here will be part of a larger network of greenway trails that gets developed. As Aaron mentioned, and as we've mentioned at previous meetings, we're working with a consultant on a greenways master plan for the unincorporated county that anticipates, trails originating in this eastern part of the county and then connecting to various destinations, ultimately maybe even connecting to the system that's in place or will be expanding in Franklin or Brentwood or Nolensville. So the idea is that the trails in this development would be part of that network, and that's also why they have stubbed at the property line so that they can be connected in the future. Does that help?
Yes. So theoretically, a person could enter on horseback at one of the star locations there off Murfreesboro and go all the way over to Malachi Lane.
So just to clarify, what is shown here primarily are, as Aaron said, 12-foot wide paved multimodal trails. That doesn't necessarily equate to equestrians, although we are very aware that there's an interest in that in this part of the community, and the Greenways consulting team is very aware of that too. So we will be working to integrate equestrian trails into the larger plan.
So how, what guidance or what requirement will we place on this development as far as easements for trails and public access and whether they're paved or not? How will that get determined?
I believe that's part of the conditions of approval, that they be constructed in conjunction with final plan. Is that right, Aaron?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. With easements over them that provide for public use?
So that's something we'll decide during the final plating phase as we get there.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I've got a question to staff on the turning lane of 2031. Did they say the turning lane would be needed? Is there a trigger that would warrant that ahead of time? Build out trigger?
So all of the turn lanes that you saw for Triune East are all warranted in the first phase, so with this residential component. So those, I believe, in the conditions of approval, the designs have to be approved by TDOT and Williamson County before submittal of the preliminary plats, and then they have to be constructed before the final plat submittal. So they will be in place before anything gets built.
Okay, thank you. Eddie?
My question's back to the Greenway Trail, and of course it's in the minutes of last month's meeting, the trail is not designated whether it's multimodal for equestrian or pedestrian, and of course my experience is if you don't get this locked down on the front end, it probably won't happen. So I don't know whether you got anything to hold them down on the next plan, or does that need to be written into this plan?
On this particular plan,
On the Greenway.
so I'm gonna turn to Mike for some help on this one for.
Well, so we have specified that the trails shown here in green will have to be 12-foot wide paved multimodal trails. And and maybe the applicant can address this too, but there may be opportunities also to incorporate equestrian trails. The main focus thus far has been on the paved multimodal trails, however.
I did answer your question.
Not really.
No, really.
Motion to approve staff recommendations.
Why don't you have a second, put the motion on the floor, and then you can continue your discussion.
Second.
Okay. So piggybacking off of Jessica, back to the accessibility of the trails, they are going to be, just to clarify, open to the public, even though this is potentially a gated community. And will those residents who live in this gated community be open and welcome to outside people coming on the trails? Because I know that can be an issue too in a development.
I'm going to ask the developer to speak to that.
Good questions.
Thank you.
As far as the trails are concerned, they will be open to the public. That's why they stub into adjoining properties. Equestrians, horses, I played polo for 14 years, so I'm a horse person. But I do have concerns of how they get there. They can't trailer in, and but if somewhere the county decides to move the Triune riding facility, I heard over towards the castle, something like that, people could park trailers over there and go on rides. But I'm just a little concerned about crossing state highways with horses and how they get there. I'm sure that can all be figured out, Robin, but as far as I'm concerned, these trails will be open to the public. And if the county wants to figure out how to get horses on them, that's great. I just haven't got that in my head, how that's going to happen.
So even if they just wanted to go for a walk, you're at the Shell station and you want to head over to the development and take a walk, I mean, it's open to the public for
Yes.
anything like that.
Yes.
Regardless.
I believe in that quite a bit. We want to do that in King's Chapel as well. We want to start networking a trail system in that part of the county.
And I'll add that we will incorporate a public access easement on those trails when we get to the plat stage.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? We have,
One question in regards or perhaps clarification in regards to the traffic study. So the traffic study that was executed for this development encompassed the residential that was illustrated here, and it took into account the future development. The parameters around that future development are assumed square footages, is what it looks like in the packet. Is there, when that future development comes through, I guess this is perhaps a question for staff or traffic, when that future development comes through, will the traffic study be retouched?
So the answer is yes. So what we will do is, as the residential components come back in, we will send them over to Kayla for her review to make sure they are compliant with what the traffic study that they performed for the complete phase. If it does not, then we will ask them to redo it to accommodate for the new, whatever the new use may be or traffic count may be.
That's for, you said residential, but for the non-residential.
That's correct,
is what
yes,
you're
sir.
saying.
Non-residential,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
any further questions? We have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 14, concept plan for the village at Triune West mixed-use development containing 103 single-family lots and 130 multifamily lots on 156.26 acres located off of Murfreesboro Road and Horton Highway in the 5th voting district. And this also, there was a public hearing on February 13th meeting, so there will not be a public hearing tonight on it. Staff?
Okay, here we go. All right, so this is the aerial view of it. We're going to zoom into it. Property on Murfreesboro Road and Horton Highway. All right, this was deferred from the February meeting. As Mr. Crohan said, the public hearing was held at your February meeting. This is located off of Murfreesboro Road and Horton Highway. You can see them on red on your screen. Property totals 156.26 acres. And from your revised report that is on your desk, it's a 97 lot conservation subdivision. You see it here in green. and then a 133-lot townhome development. See it here in the purple. The density is 1.47 dwelling units per acre, and the applicant is proposing a combination of public and private roadways for the development. So here in the brown, you'll see this is the public part of the roadway network, and then here in the red, this is the private part of the roadway network. Water is provided by Nolensville College Grove Utility District, and wastewater is served by a non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system. The natural resources include moderate and very steep slopes and areas of woodlands and wetlands, and these are our natural resources here. You'll see the wetlands coming up in the purple, and then the waterway natural area in the light blue. All of the green that you see around are the woodland protection for the property. The concept plan depicts the approximate location of 12-foot wide multimodal greenway trails, and you'll see that will come up here in the red on your screen. They stub into the adjoining properties for future extensions. There are 5. You'll see the 5 stars up there. Those are the proposed extensions. Along the western boundary line, there is a greenway easement. So if these connections need to be moved, they can simply be moved. These greenways should be constructed prior to the submittal of the final plat in which it is located. So a traffic analysis was completed by the applicant and reviewed by the traffic consultant. So Kayla's going to come back up and she's going to go over the west side for us.
On the west side, same sort of song and dance. On the lower left is the access on State Route 96 for Triune West, and again, on the right is the Malachi Lane intersection. The shapes that you see on the Malachi Lane intersection are improvements that are related to the east side. So just so you know, that's why those are there. So on 96, they're going to be putting in another unsignalized access, so it will be stop controlled for the northbound approach. They will have to construct a westbound left turn lane as well as an eastbound right turn lane on Highway 96. The new northbound approach will actually have 2 lanes, one dedicated for left turns, one dedicated for right turns. Moving over to Malachi Lane, again, it will need to be signalized. We've put this on both. There will be a new left turn lane northbound on Horton Highway to turn into the west site. There will be a southbound right turn lane on Horton Highway going into Triune West. There will be a new approach to the Malachi Lane intersection constructed eastbound. It will have 3 separate lanes, an exclusive left turn lane, a through lane, and an exclusive right turn lane. And then at the very bottom, they're proposing an additional tie-in to Horton Highway that will be constructed and signed as a right-in, right-out access. And last but not least, there will be another southbound right turn lane on Horton Highway to serve that right-in, right-out access. And again, I think that is it.
Thank you. And then finally, staff recommends approval of the concept plan with all of the conditions outlined in the staff report, including satisfying all of the conditions with the wastewater plan.
Thank you. Is the applicant present on this one? Any questions from the commission on the applicant or
The public access to the Adams property?
Yes. Yeah, so from our original concept plan, and concerned about having access to a different development through private road network and a private single-family development, we've removed access along the western side, but have then added a public street access to the southern portion that allows them to have roadway access to Knowles Road that they don't have currently. When looking at the Adams property too, there is the way it's zoned is split along Wilson Branch which kind of divides the property north and south. The southern portion is zoned TCA4, which allows for 2 units per acre, which is similar to the zoning that this development adheres to. The northern portion is zoned RD1, so 1 unit per acre. When talking with staff, their feeling was that it would be difficult to cross Wilson Branch with any type of roadway. Looking at it, especially as an engineer, it can be done. It might not be done cheaply as any other typical stream crossing, but I feel like looking at it, it can be done, and the road slopes, or the grade slopes on the southern portion of Wilson Branch start more gently going toward the stream the further west along their property. There's also about 200, 300 feet of roadway access to 96 on their property, so they're not technically landlocked. The parcel that is to the south of our development is landlocked right now, and we're providing roadway access to that. But the way the developer wants to have it and have it as a private gated community, we don't feel comfortable providing roadway access to potentially close to 400 units that could be developed on the land to our west through this development, at least through the residential portion of the development.
I don't want to say the compromise, but I guess the compromise is allowing or opening up that road to be a public road into their property so they have access, therefore can have access to the southern portion of their land, basically, as well. You've got the bottom portion of their land. You've got the public road that you're going to access, so he can access the bottom portion of their land, which connects to the other.
South of Malachi Lane,
right.
Going to great expense to add another right-hand turn into that public road to go over to their property. So the cost of the right-hand turn and the cost of building that public road is meant to satisfy their landlocked area. As our engineer said, there are other ways to get there. It's called an ARAP permit. I've had to do several. I think the Adams. It's called an ARAP permit, and I've had to do several. And I think the Adams family as developers have had to do many also. So they do have access on Highway 96, and then pay to do an ARAP permit.
Yeah, I guess that was my concern before as well, is just being landlocked and no way to get in.
No, they have a way.
Yeah, so you're providing a public
Yes.
way to get to their property at the southern of your development, the southern portion of your development, which connects to their other property, the larger lot.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
They have it. I noticed Ginger made a comment about the trees and everything, and I'd like to report, Ginger, that we took into consideration all the regs of Triune and all the natural resources, the creeks, the wetlands, the trees, the ARAP permit we're going to need. We took into consideration all that, and I'm happy to say that we're only taking one tree that's above 28 inches, and that happened to fall on a lot, but all the other trees we left alone.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Seeing none, do we have a motion on this item?
It's really a comment. Back in 2017, 2018, when we worked on, I was on the Triune Advisory Committee as well, when we were looking at the Triune area, and it was a very large area, and we worked with, I live out in that area, and we worked with other community residents, and a couple of county commissioners were on our advisory staff here and our vision was, or to have a vision of what this would look like instead of big box stores and just, high density. And I feel like this meets a lot of what our vision was for out there, to have, residential homes, no apartments, townhomes, I know I've read some social media stuff about, we don't want another Berry Farms and we don't want all this growth out there. But if you only moved into the community in the last 4 or 5, even 6 years, and you didn't know about the Triune Special Area prior to that, you wouldn't understand what the vision was. So this actually meets a lot of the vision that we worked really hard on. We worked for about 1.5 years, 2 years on that vision. So you're going to have growth. In my opinion, you're going to have growth, but if you can have a vision of what that growth looks like, I think is a great plan versus just being haphazard, people doing whatever they want, not doing whatever they want to, but I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is the vision that we have, I feel like this is implementing it, keeping the green space, having the trails. That's why I was concerned about making sure the public could go on the trails in the other development, and having the trees and having the green space there. So, anyways, I just think this meets that vision that we worked really hard on the last couple of years out in Triune, and I think it's going to be a good thing for the area because it's going to grow no matter what. So, having something in place that meets the vision, I think, is actually a good thing.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Last month, we did talk quite a bit and heard from the public about the importance of a connection on the west property line. I understand, what I understood from those comments at that time was when the zoning all changed, this landowner was told, like, hey, you'll have an access, obviously, to Murfreesboro Road, but then because of the Wilson branch, you'll have another access to the south. So my question is, can we, could I propose an amendment to the approval to require an additional public access along that western property line? To provide that property owner access to basically, I guess, Nolensville Road. I mean, and I'm asking because we talked about it last month, and it was on a previous concept plan, and we talked about connectivity between neighborhoods. We think that land will probably, eventually, it's zoned to become residential. And so why wouldn't we have connection between neighborhoods or plan for that if we could?
I would just say that's the purpose of that public road that extends to the property to the south so that can be further connected to the rest of their property to provide access back to Nolensville Road.
The way I remember it being explained or talked about in the public hearing last month, though, is they are two different parcels. The one south of this is one parcel, and the one to the west is a different parcel. So it doesn't feel like it's safe to assume that one public access gives them access to everything. Is staff seeing that differently? I'm just trying to understand, because last month we were talking about the importance of that future connection.
Staff sees it as a connection for both properties,
Okay.
for the south, for the western property and the southern property, yes.
Because of 96. 96 connects the west side, and then the new addition connects the south side.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my concern last month, is that there was no access at all. But now that they've made this public access to the south, to that southern parcel of land to the south of this property, I feel better about this because you do have access to the other property as well. Even though they're two different parcels,
Right.
as you're talking about, there was no public access to anything. That's why I was concerned about having access to the west side of this development to get in there. So that's what I was saying earlier. I don't want to use the word compromise, but they compromised and made a public access to it.
I thought that last month we even had like an email where they said we need both because it's not the same property, and that's why they wanted one to the south and one to the west. But maybe I'm remembering that wrong.
Well, my understanding is that the highway, the one has access to Highway 96. It has road frontage on Highway 96, which would take care of that piece of property if they didn't want to connect down below. And the one down below, they're putting a new road in to give access there. So I think both pieces of property have access now to, they're not landlocked, either one.
Right. Okay. Okay. I just thought since they were two different parcels, they were expressing that they needed two different access points.
So to clarify, the larger tract of land, the Wilson Creek or branch or whatever it's called, the parcel to the north of that is zoned one thing, and then the parcel to the south of that is zoned separately.
That's correct, yes.
So a quick question. It popped up there, but just because I need help, I suppose. This side, the multimodal trails, as they popped up, they were in red, as opposed to the other side when we were looking up, they popped up in green, correct?
That's
just
correct.
For all those viewing at home. Okay. So an extensive multimodal trail plan at this point, in my opinion. I think this is a good plan. Going back to the traffic for a moment, what elements, can you clarify which elements of the traffic study are to be implemented by 2000, I think it was 26, and which are potentially deferred?
All of them are by 2026.
All of them by 2026. And then same as the other side, there's a decent section of this that is for future development. And when that comes back through, the traffic study will be retouched at that point. Is that correct, Aaron?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay. It's a good plan, in my opinion.
Are there any other questions at this time? Do we have a motion on this item?
Motion to approve per staff.
Motion. Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 15 is a final plat for Whaley Section 1 containing 16 lots on 154.26 acres located off Del Rio Pike in the 10th voting district. Excuse me. Staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item was deferred from the February meeting. It is located off of Del Rio Pike, shown in red in the top right of the screen. The development totals 154.24 acres in size and will contain 16 lots, shown in pink on the left side of the screen. There's approximately 85.76 acres of open space, shown in green, and roads within the development are private, which is shown in orange. This plat is consistent with the concept plan and the preliminary plat. Water will be provided by the City of Franklin, wastewater handled via non-traditional wastewater treatment disposal system, and staff recommends approval with the standard conditions outlined in the staff report.
Thank you. Is the applicant present? No. Oh, okay. Do you have anything to add to staff's report?
I do not.
Okay. Are there any questions of the applicant or staff at this time?
Motion to approve per staff.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Thank you. At this time, we'll open up the public hearing. We have your name. The one person signed up for it. Come forward to the podium, give us your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes to state your opinion or what you want to tell us.
Don, we need to do the items first before we open the public hearing. We need to do staff report.
Okay. Resolution to adopt the Arrington Special Area Plan.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So So the Arrington Village Special Area Plan, this is the special area process that we've got here. There are four phases of the development. You'll see, or excuse me, of the process. We are on phase 4. The endorsement of the plan you're about to look at was endorsed by the County Commission at their March 10th meeting. We are now at the adoption phase of the process. This is the Citizens Advisory Committee who served on the committee for the Arrington Village Plan. And so just briefly, what is a special area plan? It's a policy document. It articulates a shared vision for the community, is based on the community's values, identifies specific goals and strategies for the community, and then provides the basis for tailored development standards. And we'll talk about that in just a minute or two. So here is the Arrington Village. You can see it outlined in the red. This is at the intersections of Murfreesboro Road, Wilson Pike, and Cox Road. So the area composes of approximately 325 acres and consists of 37 parcels. So the public involvement process for this special area plan, we had 5 of them. We did one in February. It was the public open house where we introduced the planning process. Then we had 3 public involvement meetings. You can see we had them in March, May, and September of last year. We did a variety of exercises. And then we had the final open house in January of this year where we presented the draft plan of the for public comment. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of the plan. I think that each one of you have received a copy of it, and then I also sent you a link to it in your packet for this month. So chapter 1 is just the introduction of the plan and for Arrington. And then the planning process, what we go through in order to develop the plan. And then chapter 3 is the inventory and assessment that staff does prior to going out to the public. We do the historical background of it, try to find out as much as we can, use as many sources as possible for that. Then we take in the environmental and natural resources of the area, as well as we do a land use inventory and assessment, what's there currently, and then the transportation assessment of the roadway network, train network, what have you. So in the plan and from the public involvement meetings, 4 key themes emerged, and that was the preservation of the village's existing character, the small area feel, encouragement of the appropriate land uses for the area, preserve the natural resources, and then address infrastructure and governmental services. So from the public hearing, from the public workshops, we developed a vision statement, which you see here on the screen. I won't go through it. But this is from the public, what they wanted, what they see the village to look like in the future. So from that, the vision statement, the goals and the objectives, the plan is organized around 3 different categories. That's land use and historic preservation, it's the design, character, and natural resources, and infrastructure and governmental services. Each one of these came up numerous times during the planning process. Now, between the 3, we have 12 specific goals and then 20 specific objectives to achieve those goals. This applies to the entire study area that you saw earlier in the presentation, and then it is based solely on community input, what the community told us they wanted. Final chapter is chapter 6. It's the implementation and the appendices. We've taken some quick snapshots of what we received from input during those workshops here. Now, so the next steps is, if the plan is adopted, from the summer or fall of this year, we as the staff will begin to create a set of development standards with the steering committee to help implement the policies and recommendations of the plan that are throughout. And then finally, staff recommends adoption of the plan and its inclusion into the comprehensive land use plan.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Everyone had a chance to get a copy of it and read it, I take it. Do we have a motion on this item?
I'm sorry, wasn't there someone that signed up for the public hearing?
Not for this one.
Okay.
Motion to adopt.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 17, the concept plan revised for Stevens Valley containing 791 lots located on 726.45 acres on Sneed Road in the 8th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So what you have up on your screen here, this is the original concept plan that was approved in 2016. Property straddles the Williamson and Davidson County line. Williamson County is on the left-hand side of the purple line on your screen, and Metro Nashville is on the right-hand side of the screen. This is located on Pasquo Road, just south of the terminus of Sneed Road. You can see Sneed Road and Pasquo Road on the screen in red, and it's located a half-mile south of Highway 100. Property totals 726.45 acres. That includes everything on the Williamson County side that you see on the screen in the various colors. It's a 791 lot conservation subdivision. Traffic access analysis was reviewed with their original concept plan, and no changes are proposed to that. Water and sewer provided by Harpeth Valley Utility District, and all natural resources, including the modern and very steep slopes, areas of woodlands, slippage soils, trace creeks, and its associated floodplain and perennial or intermittent streams, were met with the original concept plan. So the revision to this is to add a connection street between Stevens Valley Boulevard, which you see on the screen in red, and Pasquo Road on the Davidson County side of the line. The connection is in the purple box. You can see the county line bisecting the box with the black line. So Williamson County would be on the right side this time, and then Davidson County would be on the left side. So no additional lots are proposed with this revision, and the Metro Planning Commission approved a preliminary specific plan showing the new connection, what is in the purple box, in March of 24. I'll get it out. Metro approved that specific plan without consulting Williamson County staff. The final SP approval is currently underway by the Metro Planning staff. As proposed, the roadway will encroach into the open space of Section 3. So on the insert here, what comes up in the pink box here, this is the open space of Section 3 that is currently recorded with that section. And based on staff's on-site observations and the site plan for the existing dwelling, what you see in the insert is the site plan that we pulled from the building permit for that construction. The proposed right-of-way, which would be here in the green line, could be located as close as 5 feet to the existing dwelling. And so I'm going to bring that line there, that's the setback line, that's the 5-foot line. So the green line that you see, that would be the proposed right-of-way line. And then the brown line would be the setback line, that's 5 feet according to the site plan. Now, while staff is not opposed to the idea of the connection, as currently depicted, we are concerned about the proximity. You can see the proximity of the red arrow by the green line to the purple box. That's 5 feet. And so that's what we're concerned about, is the roadway to the existing residence. So rather than limiting the open space, we suggest that the road be located to the north, to the blue box. So that would be on the other side of the open space in order to provide a sufficient buffer from the existing residence that is constructed on the property. Now, the applicant has requested deferral to the April meeting, and because the notice for the public hearing was published, the zoning ordinance does require that the public hearing be held.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, on this item, we'll open up the public hearing. We have one person that signed up. We'll ask you to come to the podium, give us your name and your address, and you'll have 3 minutes to state your purpose. Alice A. Brusha, is it? Pass? Okay. Thank you. Do we have any questions on this item?
Right, so that's a residence, they're wanting to propose only 5 feet between it and the access to the road that's going into Davidson County. Why do they want this new access?
So I will let the developer speak to that.
Good evening. My name is David Horath with Land Innovations and represent the development team.
So why do they want this new access?
So when we were going through the process with Davidson County, I don't have a presentation with me tonight because of the deferral.
Okay.
We will provide more details next month, but the general sense of what was being requested is that when we were going through the redesign of our SP in Davidson County, the Emergency Management Services of Davidson County looked at multiple lots that were cut through with the county line. So, and with a very long alley that had only one entrance off of Davidson and one entrance off of Williamson. So we did approach both Williamson and Davidson EMS as we were going through a variety of review processes, and they all felt that that was a potential safety issue to have that many lots bisected with the county line. And so we have volunteered to relocate those lots and provide a cut-through access so the alley wasn't so long, because Davidson County, they have union personnel, Williamson County volunteer. There's just a whole bunch of issues about entering one alley, having to enter it in a different county, and it was never, this solution resolved the majority of the comments that they kept bringing up, and that's why the road got proposed. As far as the alignment, we'll be able to show next month. Our right-of-ways never encroach upon a property line throughout the subdivision. All of our final plats have right-of-ways and then property lines and then the offsets. And so we're trying to meet those requirements. We received word today that they are, so by the time we get back here next month, we will have the official final SP approval from the jurisdiction. So that alignment is what they chose to enforce upon us, and we're trying to make the best of it as we connect into Williamson County to prevent any questionable situations for an emergency to happen and who responds. Is it Williamson County or is it Davidson County?
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a motion for a deferral? Motion made and second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Thank you. The next on the public hearing we have no one signed up for was item 18, concept plan review for Burns subdivision containing 99 lots located on 173.32 acres located on Patton Road in the 5th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the Burns subdivision. We're going to zoom in on it. It is located on Patton Road with a access on Horton Highway. And I'll show you that in just one moment. So you can see Patton Road here in the red. It came up before I wanted it to. And then with a single access off of Horton Highway. So the small inset, you'll see the match line for C1, 1.1 and C1.1 on the two insets. That's where they connect. Property totals 173.32 acres. This is a 99 lot traditional subdivision. The density is 0.57 dwelling units per acre, and the lots are between 0.6 acres and 1.45 acres in size. 69.51% or acres are in open space. I will get this right. Internal roadways will be private and gated. Traffic access analysis was performed and reviewed by the county's traffic consultant. They've recommended approval from a traffic standpoint. TDOT has reviewed and granted preliminary access for the access on Horton Highway. TDOT has also required that the applicant provide cross-access easements to the adjoining properties to the north and south, and those are shown on the concept plan we presented to you in your packet. Water is provided by Nolensville College Grove Utility District, and wastewater is served by a non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system. This is the Natural Resource Protection Plan. The property is relatively flat. It does contain woodlands. You can see them in the green on your screen. There are 2 streams and their associated waterways. There are wetlands and the floodplain associated with Nelson Creek. 70% of the site will remain in open space. All right, so within the TCA and TCA 3 and TCA 4 zoning districts, and where the Triune Special Area Plan shows a potential greenway on the development property, the developer is required to construct a greenway trail and provide a public access easement. The Triune Special Area Plan did show a greenway transecting this property, and the applicant has provided a 25-foot greenway easement and 12-foot paved trail along the northern border of the property. You can see it here on the red in the upper picture. This does abut the Interstate 840 right-of-way. The greenway must be constructed prior to the submittal of the final plat for the section in which it is located. And this has been added as a condition of approval. Additionally, the applicant has provided greenway easements. You can see them on the lower picture in red along the 2 streams located on the property, and that's for future greenway connections. So those are just easements. They are not constructed trails. Staff recommends approval of the concept plan with all of the conditions outlined in the staff report, including submission of the cross-access agreements for the adjoining properties.
Thank you. Is the applicant present?
Good evening. Richard Howes with SEC.
Do you have any comments to add to staff report?
Not at this time. I'm open to questions, though.
Any questions of staff or of the applicant?
Staff report, you mentioned that TDOT was requiring access to the north and the south, I think. Can you just point that out on the map? I'm not clear on where that's happening.
So the cross-access agreements, if you look at this one here, look in the bottom picture, you see where C1.1 is located. Mm-hmm. Right below that, you'll see the cross-access agreement, so that's where they're located.
So just right there along that one little strip of road?
That is correct. Richard, that's correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Motion, do we have a second? Motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 19, the concept plan. Concept plan revised for Little Creek Farm subdivision containing 18 lots located on 57.08 acres located on Wilson Pike in the 4th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This property is located off Wilson Pike. You can see Wilson Pike here in the red. This property is 57.08 acres in size. You can see it here in the blue. This is an 18-lot traditional subdivision, and it was previously approved in August of 2022. This is a revision to change the through street to a cul-de-sac, and there are other minor changes involved. So on the original approval, you'll see the red arrow. That was where the through street went through and connected to Taproot Farms in the city of Franklin. The applicant is requesting to remove that and to cul-de-sac it, as you see here in the gray. The other minor changes just include minor adjustments to the lot lines and to the septic areas. There are no additional lots with this revision, and a revised preliminary plat reflecting the changes we see on the screen and as I've discussed will appear as item 20, the next item on your agenda. The roadway improvements associated with Wilson Pike are near completion, and finally, staff recommends approval with the same conditions outlined with the original approval.
Thank you. Is the applicant present on this one?
Yes, sir.
Name? What's your name, please?
Kelsey McGee, T-Square Engineering, representing the developers. And the developers are present here if there are any questions that are directed towards them.
Okay. Do you have any comments to add to the staff's report?
No, sir, but I'm happy to discuss framework and reasons as questions.
Are there any questions to the applicant or the staff?
One question, I guess, around, there's 2 creek crossings. What type of, and this is a curiosity, what type of crossings are planned for those?
So the creek crossing that is parallel with Wilson Pike is going to be a box culvert, open span box culvert to prevent interrupting the stream's flow at any point. The other crossing I believe you're referring to is kind of west to east. So that is not technically a stream, that is actually a dedicated drainage easement.
Okay.
So that is a series of pipe culverts conveying underneath that road.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Do you have a motion in this item?
Motion to approve per staff.
Do we have a second? Motion made and second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Preliminary plats, item number 20. Preliminary plat review revised for Little Creek Farm subdivision containing 18 lots on 57.0 acres located on Wilson Pike in the 4th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is the preliminary plat for the concept plan, the revised concept plan that was just approved. So again, it's located off of Wilson Pike. It is 57.08 acres in size. This is the 18-lot traditional subdivision. The preliminary plat was previously approved in October of 2023. And this is a revision, again, to change the through street to the cul-de-sac, as you can see on the screen, and other minor changes that were discussed during the concept plan. Again, there are no additional lots here, and the revised concept plan reflecting these changes did appear as item 19. Roadway improvements associated with Wilson Pike are near completion. And finally, so long as item 19 was approved, staff recommends approval with the same conditions established with the revised concept plan.
Thank you. Any questions on this item? Have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Motion made and second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Item number 21, preliminary plat review, Star Creek subdivision containing 9 lots on 232 acres located off of Arnold College Grove Road in the 2nd voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This development is located off Arnold College Road. There you see Arnold College Road at the top in the red. This phase totals 67 acres. It'll be 9 lots. There's the 9 lots in the pink. There's approximately 12 acres of open space. There you see the open space in the green. Water will be provided by Nolensville College Grove Utility District. The lots will be served by a non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system. There you see the system in the brown. And the preliminary plat is consistent with the concept plan, and staff recommends approval with the standard conditions outlined in the staff report.
Thank you. Is the applicant present on this item?
Yes, sir. Richard Howes with SEC.
Do you have anything to add to staff's report?
Not at this time. Open to questions.
Any questions of the applicant or of staff? Seeing none, do we have a motion in this item?
Motion to adjourn first act. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 22, preliminary plat review revised for Hyde Park Estate subdivision containing 16 lots on 109.69 acres located off of Hyde Road in the 2nd voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This development is located off Hyde Road. There you see Hyde Road in red. It consists of 109.69 acres. There'll be 16 lots. There you see the 16 lots in the pink. There's approximately 18 acres of open space. There you see the open space in the green. Internal road will be private and gated. There you see the road network in orange. Water will be provided by the Noblesville College Grove Utility District. Lots will be served by a non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system. It'll be the Star Creek system. And the preliminary plat is consistent with the concept plan. And staff recommends approval with the standard conditions outlined in the staff report.
Thank you. Is the applicant present on this item? Do you have anything to add to staff's report?
Not at this time.
Are there any questions of the applicant or the staff? Seeing none, do we have a motion on this item?
Motion to approve as staff recommends.
Motion made and second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Excuse me. Item number 23 was on the consent. Item 24 was on the consent. And item number 25 was on consent. Item number 26, other business. Establish a landscaping bond for White Horse Farms, LLC, located at 4508 Murfreesboro Road in the 4th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Board of Zoning Appeals approved the special use for the Rural Retreat extensive use at their February meeting. The site plan is under review by staff. Landscaping plan has been submitted and approved, and staff recommends the establishment of a performance bond for landscaping improvements in the amount of $69,369.
Thank you. Is the applicant present on this one?
The applicant usually isn't present for these.
Any questions of staff? Seeing none, do we have a motion on this item? We got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Are there any other business for the commission at this time?
No, sir.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
We're adjourned. Thank you.